Good evening, everybody. It's Deanna Nichols, doTERRA Blue Diamond. We will get started here in less than 2 minutes with our weekly Essential Oils Are Not Magic Beans event. We will just kind of wait for Facebook to let everyone know we're here, and then we'll get started shortly. If you'd like, as you pop on here, if you want to say hello and let us know that you're here. If you're a first-time guest, we'd love to have you mention the person who invited you. That way they can know that you're here and can say hello and offer to support you and help you with any questions that you may have after the event is over. This event will last about 30 minutes, and I have a really special promotion to let you know about at the end, so please stick around. Hey Christine, it's good to see you. If you notice, there's a little button at the bottom of your screen that allows you to share this video and let other people know that you're watching, and you can go ahead and just share with your friends and tell them that you're watching this event and they can join you. And then as you see them sign on, you can make a little shout out here at the bottom. So we're going to get started here in less than a minute. So you have some time if you want to share with a friend or invite somebody real quick by text or message. Hello, Joanne. How are you? It's good to see you. I love seeing your comments. And I don't know if you know this, but in the land of Facebook, when you make little emoticons, like if you kind of scroll your screen over, you can choose hearts and laughy faces. And when you do those things, it actually allows more people to see our video. And of course, when you share, share and when you comment as well. Hey, Athena, it's good to see you. Thank you, Anne, for sharing our video. And it looks like we're at 9 o'clock Eastern, so let's go ahead and dive in. I want to dedicate this video tonight to my sister. My sister's family this past weekend went through a pretty traumatic event where her husband and daughter were on a motorcycle and somebody pulled out in front of them and they had a pretty serious accident. They've been in the hospital and trying to deal with that. And I was just thinking about how so many times, you know, we don't ever expect something like that to happen, right? That's why it's called an accident. And I just want to make sure that if anything like that ever happens to you, that you will be prepared with your oils and you'll know how to use them in the event that you or someone you love is in a traumatic injury situation. There's so many things that you can do. Obviously, that is a time for conventional medicine, but there's so many things that you can do on the way to the hospital. There's so many things you can do while in the hospital, and of course, when you're released from the hospital, to help with the physical and emotional effects that that take place because of a traumatic injury. And it's just going to help enhance your body's natural ability to heal and give you a better experience. And so I want to make sure other people are prepared in case that ever happens to them. And of course, those that are taking care of the family need to be taking care of themselves emotionally as well and physically, because it's a huge job. I was thinking about my sister, how she's had to go between 2 different hospitals and take care of her daughter at one hospital, her husband at another hospital, and trying to make decisions and advocate for them. And it's a lot of stress. And so we need to just know, we need to have our oils. We need to make sure we already have oils, that we always have them with us everywhere. If you have to run to the hospital, always grab your oil bag. And you have every right to use your essential oils in the hospital. Don't let anybody give you any crap about that, because I have been in the hospital several times and I have used my oils without any issues at all. I've been able to go in and even apply oils to people in the ICU with permission, of course, on that situation, because they're really careful what they allow in the ICU, but I've been allowed to go in the ICU. I've certainly been able to put oils on other family members, and so I don't want you to ever be afraid. You have absolutely every right to do that, okay? A lot of hospitals, doTERRA is working with like 122 different medical centers that are using our oils too, so I think you're going to find less and less resistance to that, and so don't ever be afraid to stand up for yourself and advocate for your loved ones, okay? So both jobs are really important, the patient and the advocate that's there in the hospital with them, making sure that they're getting the best care. So let's dive in and let's talk about some things. I'm just going to go straight up and tell you that there's one oil that every single person should have in their home. Actually, there's 2. I'm just going to go with that. My favorite, though, that I never ever leave the house ever without is called Immortelle. And the reason why is because it has every amazing oil. Hey, Allison. It has every amazing oil in here that's really good for any kind of tissue injury, internal injuries, even bones, ligaments, all that stuff. And it's really got amazing oils that are good for the head. They're good for nerves. I can't think of anything it's really not good for, to be honest with you. And all of the like really expensive, really super high vibration, the very best oils that are available are all in here. So if you had to pick one emergency oil to own, I would tell you it should be Immortelle. I cannot tell you the number of emergency situations where I have personally used this oil, and I'm super, super happy. Yeah, Melissa's saying it's the Swiss Army knife of mamas. It's really is. It does a little bit of everything, and it does it really, really well and really fast. So get your hands on some of this for sure. If you have like an external situation where you've even had surgery, it's okay to put essential oils on your surgical areas, like immediately. I've done it multiple times. And how you do that is you can get yourself a small spray bottle. So this is a pretty big one. They make really small ones. So let's say we had like 25 drops of Immortelle to this bottle, and then we would do probably like 3 times that much of fractionated coconut oil, and then you can just spray it on the wounds. You don't have to touch it. There's lots of oils in here that are good for fighting off any kind of germs, and that's super important whenever you have any kind of hospital situation or surgical situation or any kind of a scrape or cut. You definitely don't want that to get infected or anything like that. And so the fact that there's oils in here that are going to help intensify the healing process as well as protect you is why this is so amazing. It's called Immortelle. And yes, this is a doTERRA blend. I'm going to tell you how to get it for free at the end of the video, and it is I think it's like $92 retail, so it's not cheap, and you can get it free in June. It's really amazing. So this is my favorite promotion doTERRA does ever, and I'm really excited about it. So I want to make sure if I like start to forget, somebody hit me really hard and remind me, because it's really important. Hey Janet. Another oil that I believe every home should have, but this oil is in Immortelle, but I think it's really important all by itself too, is helichrysum. I think I shared recently on another video about being like prepared. It might have been last week when I was talking about like camping and stuff, but helichrysum is really good for helping the body to have proper normal clotting factors. So whether you're like bleeding a lot or you've got a clot, either way, this oil is like an emergency oil. And in a really bad situation where you're hemorrhaging and you're obviously going to apply pressure to the wound, all those first aid things that you've been taught are super important. You're going to try to get them to a hospital, but on the way there, you can actually apply helichrysum over the heart. If the wound's not bleeding extremely, you can apply it to the wound, or you can at least do it around the area. If you apply it and it's bleeding a lot, you're just going to bleed out your helichrysum, and it doesn't work as well. So you can do it over the heart, which is a really good thing to do. For more minor cuts, you can just put it on the cut. I've done that several times in emergency situations. So that's a really, really important oil. It's also good for the liver. So if anything happens where the liver's affected, just know that helichrysum is going to be super, super important for liver health as well. And those types of things can happen, like internal injuries can happen. You can have like things happen to the organs as a result of a lot of trauma to the body. So the liver, even the kidneys this would be a really good oil, and you could apply it topically. If the person is in a situation where they're like in the hospital already and they're all hooked up to like tubes and you can't get to very many body parts, remember that the feet are almost always going to be exposed, and you can always get oils on them. If you can't for some reason get to the feet, use their palms. You can put the oil in their palms, and that's going to be really good because the body will send the oils wherever they need to go. If they have like broken bones or torn ligaments or severe contusions or whatever, both of these oils would be really important. And again, try to get them as close to it as possible. But if you don't have that option, it doesn't mean you can't use it. I've had people tell me that. They're like, well, I broke my leg and I'm in a full cast, like from my waist all the way down. And put it on the other leg. You know what I mean? Put it on the little tips of the toes that are sticking out of the cast. Whatever you have to do to get that in, you just want to get it in your bloodstream. I'll tell you what, in an emergency, I would not hesitate to put a little helichrysum on the thumb and touch it to the roof of the person's mouth. I would absolutely do that in an emergency. I would hope that it is a pretty close friend or family member if you're going to do that. I would do it to myself if I was able to. Another one that I don't know if a lot of people have thought about, but is like whenever there's a lot of blood or somebody's been traumatized, there can be like a lot of anxiety. They can even go into a state of shock. And one thing that I have personally had used on me in that situation 2 separate times is breathe oil. It's really great because what you can do is you can take a little bit and put it in your palms, and you can kind of cup your hands near the person's nose and mouth. You don't want to like obstruct their breathing in any way, but you want to be able to help them, and it's just really good for that. And it just kind of helps you to sort of snap out of it. And so I think that's an important one to know that a lot of people don't know. Of course, another really important oil to have is frankincense. If somebody has a head injury of any kind or a neck injury, anything involving the brain, spinal cord, anything like that, you're going to definitely want to put frankincense on. If you can get it on their head somewhere, that would be amazing. And you want to use a little bit of oil as frequently as possible. I don't see my friend Pauline on here, but she can tell you a story about a time when her father was in the hospital, and they were talking about him like, oh, he's not going to make it. He has no brain activity. And we had her do frankincense on his feet for like from 4 to, I think it was like from 4 in the afternoon to 11 p.m. And the next day he totally came out of his coma and everything. And so the body has a miraculous power to naturally heal if you give it the right things. So in the hospital, they're going to be mostly focused on obviously surgical options and drug options, which they should be. That's what they're trained in. And so if you can be in there and you can be trained in how to use essential oils, you're just going to help what they're doing. That's all you're going to do. Okay. Another thing is I would have to mention Aromatouch and Deep Blue, because you have a lot of pain when you're dealing with any sort of injuries. Aromatouch is a good one to help increase circulation and to help with like nerve pain, swelling, those types of things. That's really, really important. And then Deep Blue is good for pain and helping the body to repair tissue and bone and things like that. So that should always be included as well. Let's not forget about the emotional impact that it has on everyone, whether it's the person injured. I mean, I've been on the patient end of serious injuries and serious illnesses and surgeries and emergency surgeries and things that are unexpected. And there's a lot of anxiety. Hey, Jenny, there's a lot of anxiety that is coming from the patient as well as the family members. And if you're like me, who picks up on other people's emotions, you can be there as the patient and you can be like worried for everyone else too. And so it's very stressful. And when your body's under stress, it's harder for your body to heal because you're absolutely pumping yourself full of cortisol. And it's harder for your body to heal. It's harder for your body to be at a state of rest, which is what you need in order to be able to heal. You don't want to be having a really high heart rate and high blood pressure and all those things if you're going into a surgical situation either. So I think that like one of the basic oils that everybody probably has is lavender. Don't underestimate the power of lavender. It's soothing. It's been used in a lot of hospital settings, and you can read a lot of studies about that. If you go to PubMed and just type in lavender, watch and see what you'll see. It's most often, I think, used for its emotional benefits. It has a ton of physical benefits. It's great for skin. It's great for the heart. It's great for pain and soothing. It's amazing for all those things, but never underestimate the power of the emotional benefits. If all you can do is get it underneath somebody's nose so that they're inhaling it, you can put it on their feet. In the hospital sometimes, I have a friend who is in the medical field, and a lot of times she'll just take a tissue or cotton ball with the oils and just put it around the person's bed and stuff. And that's just get it on them however you can. If they're really, really working on the person, don't be afraid to be a diffuser. I am never shy about my oils because I know how much they can help people. Even if the person that I'm using them for doesn't know or isn't open to me, like doing stuff like putting them on them or putting them in their mouth or something, I'm still going to use the oils and I'm going to be a diffuser. That's what I'm going to do. So if I were there in a situation that was really high intense, I would just put this on and I would be like, making myself into a diffuser. That's seriously what I do. And you can touch people, on the back of the neck after you've got the oils on, and you're going to just be helping everybody and they really don't even know. You're actually also going to be helping the medical personnel to do their job because when everybody else is calm and able to think more clearly, then everybody's able to do their job more effectively. So don't be obnoxious and get in their way. They're trying to save somebody's life. If they're sitting there with a defibrillator, that's not the time to be trying to apply oils to people. on the way there is a good time when they're not immediately being touched by medical personnel. And then, of course, you can always put the oils on yourself. No one can stop you from doing that. And if anybody does say anything to you, let me know, and I will give you some tips on things that you can that you can say. But I have said, you know, certain key things that I believe have helped me in the very, very few situations. But I actually really strongly believe that your intention and your mindset is so important. So if you go in there thinking, oh my gosh, what are they going to do? Then you're going to have tense situations and you're going to get weird responses from people. But I have found that if I just act like I know what I'm doing and I'm super nice, like I don't have to be nasty at all, but if I'm confident and I just like move forward and don't ask permission, then nobody bugs me. It's like if you want to go somewhere in a building and you don't know if you're allowed, you just go and you just walk like really confidently and quickly and don't act like all nervous and scared, and then no one will stop you. And that's just kind of the same attitude, because this is your health. It's important. And sometimes people don't know what you know, and that's okay. But you go ahead and do it anyway, because it's important. Okay? That was my little speech. And then Serenity. I have to mention Serenity. It's super, super calming. It's got other oils in it that are calming for the nerves as well. And so if you have this one, that's probably like a little bump up from lavender. So don't forget about Serenity. Balance. I love Balance because it's really good for helping to oxygenate the brain. And it's also very calming for the emotions. And so it's like a 2-for-1 special. I mean, it's helping you physically and emotionally at the same time. Of course, they all do that. But I'm just saying this is a real heavy hitter. It does have frankincense in it. So this would be a good one to put on the feet or put on the back of the neck or the head or something if you can. That would be really good. As people are healing from injuries, I'm going to give you a couple tips that I learned along the way. I've had a few injuries since I've been doing oils, and just things that I've learned that have been super, super helpful to me and other people. One is Terrazyme. You may be wondering, like, what in the world? I know the light's making it weird, hard to see. There you go. Terrazyme is a supplement. It's actually a digestive enzyme that people think about taking when they're eating food. But what people don't realize is that your body has enzymes. Enzymes are used for like all kinds of important body functions, including healing. So if you have extra enzymes, really good enzymes in your body, and you don't have any food in your body, then those enzymes are going to go to the most important job on hand. And a really important job on hand would be healing from some sort of an injury or from sort of surgical procedure. So if the person's able to eat or drink something, you could even open this. It's a capsule, so if they can't like swallow a capsule because of their situation, you can even open this and put it in a little bit of, you know, broth or a little bit of drink or whatever, getting it in their system. When they're on an empty stomach, it would be great. But if you don't have that option because they can't swallow the capsule, just put it in a very small amount of something. Something that's really already soft and liquid, because your body doesn't have to do a lot to break it down. And so there's going to be a lot of enzymes there to help your body to heal. So that's like a really important little tip. Another one is bone nutrient complex. So a lot of people are like, well, I didn't break any bones. Okay, so that's okay, because there's stuff in here that's good for soft tissue as well. And so an example is manganese that's in here. That's a really important one. So don't forget that this is not just for bones. And it also mentions something on here about women. Don't let that freak you out, because we all have the need for these ingredients that are in here. So I think that this is a really important one as you're healing from injuries as well. Okay. Deep Blue Rub. Deep Blue Rub is going to be good as people are having pain. I love the Deep Blue oil myself personally, but if be careful with Deep Blue Rub when you've got like a convalescent type person. So if they're going to be like lying on their back and they have a back injury, then I probably wouldn't use the Deep Blue Rub, to be honest with you. At least I wouldn't use it on their back, because I've had situations where people have used it and they have had moisture buildup and like no airflow is getting to the area because they're lying on their back, and then it really can get super hot and irritate the skin. But if it's like, if they're lying on their back and they have a leg injury, you can put this on. Just be careful. Do they have a leg brace that's on and they're not getting air to the area? Do they have like a cast? In those situations, just put it on areas where air is going to get to it, so it can stay dry and not super hot. And it can be really beneficial. But you're going to get the same, pretty much the same benefits by using the Deep Blue oil. So that would be a good one to stick with. Okay. Another oil that I love during injuries is marjoram. Marjoram is really great at helping to calm the muscles. That's why it's found in things like AromaTouch, Past Tense, those blends. But it's also really, really great for soft tissue in the body. It also has natural pain relieving. Yes, Athena mentioned don't lay on heat. Like don't apply Deep Blue rub and then put like a heating pad or something like that on too. Heat and moisture drive oils deeper. So just remember, if it's already a tingly oil, it's going to be like on fire if you do anything to add heat or moisture, okay? But back to marjoram, if the person is able at this point to take things by mouth, you can also take some capsules and you can actually put a couple of drops of like 2 drops of marjoram and 2 drops of frankincense as a natural pain relief for them. If that doesn't work, another one that I have done that has worked actually really well for me, I'm trying to find the oil, is lemongrass and cypress in a capsule. So I wouldn't go more than 2 drops of each. You don't need more than 3 or 4 drops of essential oil at a time for any reason. So I would do these 2 together, and I've had success with both. So maybe try one or the other and see how you do. And that's not going to interfere with anything else that you're doing. So you can still go ahead and do that on top of any other pain relief that you might be using. Also, there is Correct-X. This is perfect for situations where you've got abrasions, cuts, wounds of any kind. This is petroleum free, so a lot of the stuff that people tell you to put on wounds and scrapes and stuff is going to be based in petroleum. Like that's horrible for your body. And there's also other icky ingredients in there that really are killing good bacteria that you need on your tissue. So this is perfect because it's got natural essential oils that recognize the difference between good bacteria, healthy bacteria that you need as a protectant, and then the bad stuff. So this contains some of those really high healing oils like frankincense, helichrysum, melaleuca, lavender, and cedarwood. And it's really gentle. So a little dab will do ya, but you can put this on a couple different times a day. And it's going to provide like a little bit of a barrier the way other ointments would as well. By the way, as I'm talking, I love that, yeah, applesauce. A couple people mentioned that. That's a safe bet to mix a little something in there. As I'm talking, if you guys have any tips or experiences in this situation, please share them. Because we can all benefit from each other's experience. If somebody does, for whatever reason, have some sort of an infection that they're dealing with and they're being given a treatment for infection, an oil that would be really great for you to put on their feet is Melaleuca. Melaleuca is amazing for helping the antibacterial treatment, whatever it is, antibiotics, oils, whatever they're opting to use. It's going to help that to get into the cell where the bacteria is, and it's going to help to fight that. And so Melaleuca should always be included anytime there's any kind of an infection present. Super important. Also, a little tip I learned is if you have some sort of a surgical wound or some sort of wound that's in an area where the skin like kind of folds over. So a couple examples would be like maybe under the breast area where you're not getting a lot of air to the area, or for a lot of you ladies that have had abdominal type surgeries like C-sections, or, just any kind of female surgery, then Melaleuca is a super important oil because surgeons have told me that one of the biggest problems that happens to people is they actually get yeast infections where their surgical site is, and that causes massive other kinds of infections. And so Melaleuca is really antifungal, and it also dries up areas. It keeps things dry. And so this is really good. And I used this when I had my C-section because that was a little area where skin like folds over. And so I would put Melaleuca on and make sure I got air to the area every day. That's a really important thing to know. So Melaleuca is a good one to have in your arsenal. Yeah, somebody's mentioned that Correct-X is great for diaper rash. Yeah, there's been a couple situations where like my son had diarrhea every few minutes and his little rear was just so raw. And I tried all kinds of different home remedies and stuff. And one thing I found was that Correct-X was the best thing because it does make that barrier. So when they go to the bathroom again, it's not like irritating it further. Okay, Cindy said we put On Guard, Melaleuca, and Oregano Touch on her husband's shin when he had his foot issue. Yeah, so he had a pretty severe issue with his foot, and he was definitely getting a lot of surgical care. But I will tell you, and hospitals will tell you this, and surgeons will tell you this, that one of the biggest risks anytime you're in a hospital is infection, because you're dealing with people that are touching people that have infections and illnesses, and then they're touching other people. And even though they're washing their hands, like things get missed and things are in the air. and you've been cut open and you've been exposed to the air, or you have an infection, or you have like an abrasion, you've been exposed to the air. So using the oils, like Cindy's saying, is never going to be a bad idea, just to help your body. Whatever you can give your body that's pure and helpful is going to help your body to be able to heal faster. Every time I've ever been in the hospital or had a family member in the hospital, one thing that I've made sure to do is to have a diffuser. And I have gotten nothing but positive feedback from hospitals about having a diffuser in the room. I would definitely have a diffuser in your hospital room, and I would definitely put On Guard in there and just leave it pumping 24/7. The other thing is, I don't have it right here, but I actually brought from home, or you can have somebody bring from home, the On Guard hand soap, and I put that by the sink. And it was funny, I never said anything, and everybody that came in to work on me or touch me all washed their hands with the On Guard soap. And so I knew that there was going to be nothing on their hands that was going to hurt me between the diffuser and the On Guard soap. And I swear people would come in my room just to smell my room. Like, they weren't even supposed to be in my room. I had to start like put a sign on my door like, hey, you're not, like, get out of my room if you're not supposed to be in here. I'm trying to nurse my newborn, and just random people are coming in. Oh, it smells so good in here. Yeah, so you might have some unwanted guests if you're doing these things. The other thing is don't forget, like, once the person's allowed to start drinking water again, and they're allowed to take in fluids, one of the things is, like, usually one of the steps of, like, they're to see if they're starting to get better, and like if they're going to think about maybe letting you go home, is can they remove your catheter? That's always like one of the main things. And so I don't think my mom's on here. She's probably helping to take care of my sister's family right now, but whenever my mom was with me when I had my C-section, she was like, all right, we're going to get this catheter out. So she kept on like hammering me with water with lemon. Lemon oil's amazing. It's really great to get like your pH balanced again and help get rid of any toxins that were released, like whether it was because you've had different things injected into you, or because you were just exposed to stuff in the process of your injury, whatever. But it's going to help to get your system moving again, and it's going to help you to want to drink more water. So I would drink lemon as soon as I could, and the other thing is I would do digestion as soon as possible, because that's one of the hallmarks of letting you go home is, can you have a bowel movement? Especially if you've been like cut open or whatever. It's very difficult. And I never had to take anything other than digestion and lemon. And that really, really helped. And that's a real thing. Sorry, guys, but it's just a real issue that happens when you're hospitalized because of injuries or surgeries or even illness. They want to make sure that you can like go to the bathroom on your own when they send you home. That's kind of important. So I mentioned lemongrass like briefly. I would be remiss if I didn't say how powerful it is as well for so many things. And great for pain, but also great for soft tissue. And so if you have anything relating to soft tissue, marjoram, lemongrass, and coriander. Coriander is like fantastic. It's an oil that gets overlooked a lot. It smells all funky and everything, and that's partly why. Yeah, it smells like I remember. So, but this one is fantastic. So those three, I think, should definitely be included. If you're dealing with bone issues, you want to have some wintergreen in your life. Don't go crazy on it, especially if they have you on any kind of blood thinning medication. I mean, you would have to take quite a bit of it for this to be an issue, but just as an FYI, I mean, that's why it's got the lock cap, so you don't like drink it with a straw or anything. I don't think you would do that, but that's about how much you would need for it to be an issue. So just be careful and be cognizant of what you're taking. And wintergreen is one that has a little bit of a warning for blood thinning properties, so just know that. And this is great for supporting bones as they heal. It's also great for pain in other places in the body as well. I'm looking somebody else's comments. Let's see. Melissa said after her nosebleed lasted a 4-hour nosebleed, cypress. Yeah, cypress is amazing for stopping nosebleeds. You can just put it on the bridge of the nose. You can try to put it under their nose. It's also really good for helping with if you have a lot of fluid in an area and you're really trying to get circulation to an area, get things moving. Cypress is the oil of motion and flow. So if you want things to be flowing and moving in the body and that's a struggle that you're having, then cypress is a really, really good one. What's funny about that, think about that for a second, and this is an important point as we close here, is that people get confused. Essential oils they don't work like traditional medicine, there's not like a different oil to stop bleeding and a different oil to break down clots. Like I said, it's the same oil that supports the normal clotting factor. Well, cypress is the same way. And you may have wondered, like, if cypress is the oil of motion and flow and you wanted it to stop flowing out of her nose, like, why would you use that? But it's just, it normalizes things. It just, your body's doing the work, not the oils. That's the thing to remember. You're just giving your body what it needs to do what it needs to do. So don't ever stress out like, oh, I have low blood pressure versus high blood pressure, or I have low cortisol versus high cortisol. This is not medicine and we're not treating a disease. We're just giving your body something it needs. Kind of like if you eat a banana to give you potassium, it's the same way. If your body doesn't need it, then it's not going to use it. So you don't need to stress out too much about that. Okay, there's like a ton of other things I could say. I just want to mention really quickly that when there's been trauma, helichrysum is a really important oil regardless of what your health issues are, because it helps your body with the emotional effects. If you don't think there's emotional effects when you've been in an accident or you've had some emergency surgery or illness that's come out of the blue, there's trauma involved, and that can affect your healing and your long-term health as well. And so helichrysum over the midsection of the body, the solar plexus area, inhaling it is going to be a really, really important part of your full healing. You cannot heal completely physically if you're not addressing the emotional needs. Some other oils that would be good would be Forgive. Sometimes people have accidents and they think like, for example, if I was driving the car and my son was injured, I might have some guilt or whatever about that. So Forgive would be really, really important. Children can take on a lot of guilt about things. They could, they could be having some dialogue in their head that makes no sense to us about how, they were talking to you and that's why the accident happened. And, even though that has nothing to do with it. So these oils, sometimes even if people aren't telling you how they're feeling, it's good to help them to just kind of use some of these oils so they can get this stuff out. Peace is so important. That's really good to apply over the throat to help people be able to talk about what happened and deal with it. Also just for calming in general. Very, lots of very calming oils in here. Especially if there's been any neck injuries and stuff in this area, like the cervical spine, that's a good one. That's just a good area of the body. And then Console. Console is a comforting blend, and whether there's been a loss of a loved one in the accident or illness, it doesn't matter. There's still a lot of grief over, time lost from work or lost from activities that you want to do, or, permanent injuries that happen or whatever. And so Console is always a good one. I always like to inhale it, and then I like to apply it here to the center of the forehead. That's a great place to apply it. There's so many others that I could say. So I just want to tell you that if you are looking to have some oils and learn about how they work, first of all, you can buy oils on the internet, but you'll never learn how they work by doing that. When you join doTERRA through a person that you know and like, they're going to bring you into a support community where we're going to teach you how to do this stuff. And when you have a question, you can go on our Facebook group and say like, hey, this is what's going on with my family member. And people will give you suggestions because they've probably been through it before. So the person that invited you to watch this video, they may not be the person speaking that looks all like professional and famous because I'm the one that happens to be doing the video, but they cared about you and they invited you to the video. So go back to them and say, I want to get some oils. They are the best person to help you. Okay. They probably even have some private promos that they're doing just for their own personal friends and family. So make sure you check in with them. And what you want to do is you want to choose an enrollment kit so you can get some basic oils in your home. You would be shocked at what you can do in an emergency with just our 10 basic oils. I was tempted to just talk about that for 30 minutes, but I really wanted to cover some other things because I want you guys to know about this stuff in case you're ever in this situation. But even if you just had the most basic oils, in fact, I have told a person before, as their spouse was lying on the ground, they thought they'd had a heart attack. I said, do you have any oils? And they had something totally random like eucalyptus. And I said, put it on them, because the oils do incredible things. We don't even know what all they can do. They're certainly not going to hurt. And so if you have any oil, it would be better than none. But get some basic oils in your home, and you do that by choosing a starter kit from doTERRA. I'll put up a link for you in just a minute, unless somebody else has already done that in the comments. But what you can do is choose your starter kit, because your membership to doTERRA is then free, meaning you get everything 25% off, and you get to use our incredible loyalty rewards program, which gives you between 10 and 30% back in addition to your 25% off on everything that you purchase, plus free shipping rewards. Plus there's some bundles that save you a bundle of cash. and you will learn from your team how to take part in those. Plus, right now, when you enroll with any kit that is worth 200 points or more, that which we have a very basic top 10 kit that fits in that category, you will automatically get the Immortelle for free, which is a $92 bottle of oil, and you need this in your life. I don't even like leave my house without this in my purse. If you already have a doTERRA membership, ask somebody how to do a loyalty rewards order, because not only will you get your Immortelle for free if you do 200 points, but you will get anywhere from $20 to $60 back in free oil points by using your rewards program. So you could end up with like up to $160, actually $167, because you get your free shipping rewards too. Plus, if you order by the 15th, you get Serenity oil if you're already a member. Which is, we talked about that, a little 5 ml of it, and that's another great oil to have around. So take advantage of this special. You can get up to 4 of these in June. I appreciate you spending time with me tonight. Thank you, Cindy Kalendek, for sharing in the comments the link to the enrollment kits. If you are my personal guest, if you just have liked my page and I'm your connection to doTERRA, if that's the case and it's not somebody else you're working with, then I have a special group that you can join where I post my specials and promos. And you can request to join that if you're not a member of doTERRA and you are not working with any other wellness advocate. You can go to facebook.com/groups/oil shares VIP. I would love to have you in my page. You'll learn a ton there. Everybody's welcome to hang out here on this page, facebook.com/oil shares. Have an awesome night, you guys. Be safe.